Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we will be going through my round 6 AFL season tips and predictions, and as well as that we're going to be recapping last week's tips to see how well I did last week in the AFL tipping. If you guys do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also if you haven't already, make sure to join the tipping comp which I have on ESPN Footy Tips, as there are massive prizes up for grabs for the end of the year and you do not want to be missing out on any of them. So last week in the tipping I got a total amount of 7 out of 9 tips correct. I reckon last week was the easiest round to tip by far out of any of the other rounds so far this year. Got a total of 7 out of 9 tips correct, not bad at all. Every other round I've got 6 out of 9, so first time getting higher than 6 out of 9 this year in the tipping. We started off at the Gabba for Brisbane and Collingwood. I tipped Brisbane to get this done by 12 points. They did end up winning it in the end, however they won it by 7 points, and it was a bit annoying at the end. There was about 30-second gap where the Pies could have kicked a behind to make it a 12-point game, however they kicked a goal and made the final margin 7 points. So started off the tipping last week with a win, which is really good. Then we head to the Good Friday matchup at Marvel Stadium. It was North Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. I tipped the Western Bulldogs and wow, they were dominant. I think they scored over 50 in the first quarter, which you do not see much in AFL footy anymore. They bring the same brand of footy that they played last year on Good Friday when they bet them by 128. Still a massive margin, however, yeah, really good win for the Dogs. North Melbourne just looked flat the entire time. They haven't been performing too bad so far, North Melbourne. They've been in some pretty close and tight games. However, this one they just got blown away. There was also another game on the Friday night. It was West Coast and Sydney at Optus Stadium. It was the Sydney Swans that ended up getting it done, and they got it done convincingly in the end. Ever since the first bounce, the Swans were on. They were firing. They were up 56-0 in the second quarter. So the West Coast Eagles are finals hopes done for the Eagles. I think they could be. I think they well and truly could be. Only winning one game so far this year. That was against Collingwood at Marvel. However, really good signs for the Sydney Swans. They are looking like a really strong and difficult team to beat this year. Now we move on to the Saturday games. It was St Kilda and Gold Coast at Marvel Stadium. I did end up tipping the St Kilda Saints, and that makes it 4 in a row correct starting off the round of tipping. Now the Saints and the Suns always have some pretty interesting games. However, this one was just an easy 26-point win for the Saints. It just really didn't go anywhere. It wasn't an entertaining game. I went to the game, nothing really good happened. You know, the Saints pretty much were in front for the entire game, and yeah, the Suns, they weren't out of it, but they were just never really in front. Now we move to Adelaide Oval to see the Crows take on the Tigers. Now I tipped the Tigers in this one. The Crows exposed how weak the Tigers can be in some aspects of the game this week. I wasn't able to watch any of this game, however, it just looks like Adelaide dominated from the get-go. It wasn't really a close game, but it wasn't a big margin at the same time, so sort of in between. The Crows comfortably got it done. Then we move to the MCG to see Melbourne absolutely annihilate the GWS Giants. Now we know that the Giants play a really bad brand of footy at the MCG, and against Melbourne, you know, Melbourne haven't even been playing their top brand of footy. They've been in some pretty close games against some pretty half decent sides, so for them to be smashing it and not I don't see them playing the same footy as last year. Last year they were a tad better, so this year they're not playing the same footy, and they're 5-0, so if they're not playing the best footy now, I feel like they've still got a lot in them. They've got a better brand of footy to bring out. Anyway, they got the job done against the GWS Giants really comfortably in the end. GWS play really bad at the MCG, so it doesn't surprise me that this was the final margin. Moving on to the Sunday games now, back at the MCG, we have Carlton and Port Adelaide in a really crap game for Carlton. They got the 4 points in the end, but percentage-wise, they could have won this game by 50 points. In fact, they were up by 50 points at half-time. So for them to only win it by 3 points, credit to Port Adelaide for coming back that much. It was a big margin, and big to do it at the MCG as well in an informed Carlton side. Carlton, yeah, not the best win, however, got the 4 points, and that's really all that matters. Now we move to Marvel Stadium for the 4:40 PM matchup between the Bombers and the Dockers on Sunday Arvo footy, and the Dockers played a really good brand of footy. They dominated them from the start. You know, there was probably about 3 to 4 lead changes which put Essendon in front, but apart from that, Freo controlled most of the game, and they ended up getting it done really convincingly, and a really good look for the Dockers into the future. Now we move on to the last game of the round. It was Hawthorn and Geelong at the MCG. Easter Monday footy, and it wasn't an Easter Monday classic, it was. These teams have produced some really interesing thrillers in the past few years. And this one, Geelong were ahead, then Hawthorn were ahead. There was a lot of different lead changes, a lot of different scenarios that happened in the game. However, Hawthorn took it out by 2 goals. Unfortunately, I did tip Geelong to win this. Hawthorn, with a massive loss in round 4, they came back and really proved the league wrong, and they got it done by 2 goals against the Cats and then got smashed by the Saints the week earlier. So we'll move on to our round 6 tips. However, 7 out of 9 for the round 5 tipping. First game, starting off the round 6 matchups, we have GWS taking on the Saints at Manuka Oval. Now, GWS have the home ground advantage. However, St Kilda are producing a much better brand of football. The Saints have massive odds to win this in terms of the tippers and also the betting, and I feel like I'm going to tip the Saints to get this done. They're 4th on the table compared to the GWS 14th position, but the latter position doesn't even mean much in terms of this matchup. Like, yes, it's at Manuka Oval. That's the only upside they have, the GWS Giants. They have Toby Green back in the side this week. However, I feel like St Kilda will be too strong. They've been producing such a good brand, such an exciting brand of footy, and you know, it wasn't the most convincing win last week over the Suns, but I feel like Friday night footy, it's their time to shine. I'll tip the Saints to get it done. However, I feel like this could be a really good game. I'm going to tip them to get it done by 7 points. Moving on to the Saturday games at Mars Stadium, we have the Dogs and the Crows. I don't think there's much in this one. Adelaide had a pretty convincing win over the Tigers last week. However, that was at their home ground. Now moving to Mars Stadium in Ballarat, it's a huge difference. Adelaide have 5% of people tipping them for this matchup compared to the Dogs, 95%. Now, home away from home, the Western Bulldogs playing at Ballarat, they play a couple games there each year, usually against Adelaide as well. Massive odds in favour to the Dogs for this matchup. They're not too far behind each other on the ladder. However, I feel like after last week's performance, Western Bulldogs will be firing. They've got the momentum swinging their way, and with the home and away from home, they play pretty good brand of footy at Mars Stadium. They've bet the lines there a few times in the past, so I feel like they'll be able to easily cruise past the Crows. On to the second game of the Saturday. It is Port Adelaide versus West Coast at Adelaide Oval. Now, West Coast to get their second win of the year. Port Adelaide starting off the season 0-5. Like, that is absolutely horrendous. Their worst starts in their history of the club. However, being at Adelaide Oval, I feel like this is their time. They'll get their first win this weekend, and I'm pretty confident in it as well. West Coast have been playing a really shocking brand of footy. So have the Port Adelaide Power. However, at their home ground, I feel like heavy favourites the Power, and I'm going to tip them to get it done. Moving on to the last game on the Saturday, it is Freo and Carlton at Optus Stadium. Being a Freo fan, I'm bloody nervous for this game. We always have thrilling games against the Blues. The past 3 to 4 games have been just thrilling finishes, and I feel like being at Optus Stadium, you know, both sides have had a really impressive start to this year. Freo do have the money to win it, and also the tippers percentage as well. Freo sitting second on the ladder with 4-1. And also the Carlton Blues sitting at 4-1, but 6 on the ladder in terms of percentage. Now, I'm going to be tipping the Dockers in this game. No bias whatsoever. I just feel like being at Optus Stadium, I feel like we have the upper hand. Playing Saturday night footy, it's our time to shine. We've choked playing prime time footy before, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did end up losing this game. However, I feel like it'll be a good game, but the Dockers will get it done. Moving on to the Sunday games now, we have North Melbourne taking on the Geelong Cats at Blundstone Arena. Another home away from home game for the North Melbourne Kangaroos. However, Geelong heavy favourites to be winning this game. Geelong sitting in the 8 with North Melbourne sitting bottom 2, so I feel like Geelong should be able to get this done. At Blundstone Arena, you never know, you know, North Melbourne could just pull out a brand of footy that we haven't seen them play before, but I feel like it'll be really stupid to tip against the Cats, and I'm going to be tipping Geelong, but if I'm sitting here in a week's time and North Melbourne get up, then I'm going to be looking pretty stupid because I've had the chance to tip them, but I feel like Geelong way too strong. Second game on this Sunday, we move to Metricon Stadium to see the Q Clash, Gold Coast taking on Brisbane. Now, the past few Q Clashes have all been in Brisbane's favour, some pretty heavy margins as well. And there's a few past matchups. 98%ers have tipped Brisbane with $1.35 in Brisbane's favour compared to the Gold Coast $3.20. Brisbane sitting third on the table, the Suns sitting 12th. The Suns have been in some pretty close games this year. However, I don't feel like they'll be able to compete against Brisbane. Brisbane have been pretty bloody good, sitting 4-1. Brisbane have been playing their usual brand of footy, just really good everywhere on the field, and I feel like they'll get it done. I'm going to be tipping the Brisbane Lions over the Suns. Last game on the Sunday, it is Anzac Eve. It is Richmond and Melbourne at the MCG. Sunday night footy here, we have Richmond only have 5% of people tip them, with 95% of tippers tipping Melbourne. Melbourne yet to lose a game in season 2022, with Richmond sitting 11th, Melbourne sitting first, heavy favourites favourites in terms of Melbourne. I feel like Richmond will be there to play. I feel like they'll put up a good challenge, but I feel like Melbourne will be too strong. But Richmond do have a chance. This is just a game where Richmond can really turn on the Jets and get past the Melbourne Demons. But basing it off this year already, I feel like Melbourne in better form, in better shape, sitting top of the table, haven't lost a game. They should be able to cruise past Richmond. Moving on to Anzac Day footy now, we have Hawthorn and Sydney at UTAS. Very early start with this game starting at 12:30 p.m. Hawthorn have really no odds on this game. Sydney have all the odds to win it in this matchup. At UTAS, another home away from home game for the Hawks, and I feel like these teams are quite balanced in terms of ladder placements, with Sydney sitting 5th and the Hawks sitting 8th. However, I feel like Sydney too strong of a side. Hawthorn do play a pretty good brand of footy at UTAS. However, I feel like the Swans too strong and just have a better side than Hawthorn. I'm going to be tipping the Swans to get it done, and they should get it done. However, Hawthorn always have that other side of them which can play really well and get it done easily. Now we move on to the main game of the round. It is Anzac Day footy, Essendon and Collingwood at the MCG. Primetime footy at 3:20 p.m. on Monday, Arvo footy. We have Essendon sitting 15th on the ladder compared to Collingwood 9th on the ladder. 17% of people have tipped Essendon, with 83% tipping Collingwood, and Collingwood are also in favour of the betting favourites as well. I'm surprised that the odds are actually this far apart. You know, Essendon haven't been competing in many games this year. Collingwood, they've been a pretty good side actually. Collingwood, a lot of people expected them to be pretty crap this year, finished bottom 4. However, they're really proving them wrong, and they've been in a lot of games. They've been winning some quite impressive games as well. I'm going to be tipping Collingwood. However, I feel like Essendon will come to play, but I feel like Collingwood in the end will just run away with it. If you guys enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you haven't already, make sure to join the tipping comp on ESPN Footy Tips. It'll be on the screen right here. Make sure to type that in on ESPN Footy Tips. If you join it, there are massive prizes up for grabs at the end of the year that you do not want to be missing out on. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next upload.